Okay, today we're gonna do a work problem, they call them. Basically, it requires people working together, and then how much time can they do it together, basically. And there's a certain setup on it, but I'm gonna discuss it a little differently than the way textbooks discuss with you and the way other teachers might teach you, because my teacher didn't teach it to me this way, but my understanding of it was better if I understood it the way I'm gonna explain it to you. Okay, so let's do this one example. Mike can tile a floor in 14 hours, and then together, him and Joe can tile the floors in 9 hours. So they're working together. Mike can, tile the floor by himself for 14 hours. If they do it together, him and Joe, they do it in 9 hours. So how long would it take for Joe if he tiled it alone? So the standard formula is basically 1 over the rate of the person that he's going to take to do something plus 1 over the rate of the other person. And if there's 3 people, you add another one, okay? And so on. I mean, if there's 4 people, then you're going to have 4 of them. But in this example, there's only 2 of them, so we're going to have only 2, okay? And then that's equal to 1 over the total time it would take for them to finish it. And the way I usually remember this and the way you can do like further more complex problem is that you understand this part is really a time. So basically Mike's time plus Joe's time is equal to the total time it takes to do something. And if you remember the formula, you ever done distance equals rate times time when you're doing, speeds and driving cars, usually boats, is d equals r rate times time, right? So if you solve for time, it's really equals to d over r, okay, distance over rate. Distance in this kind of example is how much are you building? And usually in work problems, they're always going to give you just tiling a floor. They're not going to tell you, oh, I can tile 1.5 floors. They always say tile the floor, paint the house. They don't talk about, oh, you can paint 3/4 of a house. So I mean, but the thing is, the further understanding, this is why it's 1, because 1 refers to the whole floor. Okay, over 14, okay, here this example is the rate you're going at. So it's really distance over rate if you really think about it that way. So Mike's time plus Joe time is equal to total time. Okay, but in the example, he's doing the whole floor, so it's gonna be 1. He can do 1 floor, Joe can do 1 floor, and this is the 1 floor they do it together. Okay, so in this problem, it'll be 1 over 14 because Mike can do it in 14 hours plus 1 over x because we don't know how long Joe can do it by himself. So we'll let that be x for Joe. And the total time they do it together is 9 hours, okay? So we're going to get right here 1 over 14 plus 1 over x equals 1/9, okay? And the way you solve for x here, my little trick is to multiply the lowest common denominator, I would say, for all 3 factors here is 14x and 9. So it will be 126x. So if you multiply by 126x on both sides, you can distribute this. And this is the quickest way to do it. There's different ways to do it. You can find the lowest common denominator and just do like fractions. But this is actually the fastest way to do it. 126x divided by 14 is 9x. Okay. And then 126x distribute to 1 over x is just 126, right? And then 126x divided by 9 is just 14x. Okay? So what you can do now is you can subtract 9x on both sides, right? And you'll get 5x equals to 126. Okay? And then you just divide by 5 on both sides. Okay? And you'll get 126 over 5. And since, they're talking about how many hours you can do it, I'll put this in a mixed form. And that is equal to 25 and 1/5 hours. Okay? So Mike can do it in 14 hours. Joe can do it in 25 and 1/5 hour because that's what x is, Joe's rate. And they do together is 9 hours. So this is the basis of how you do a work problem. It applies to anything. It doesn't matter if they're painting a house together. Usually that's the most common problem is painting a house. If they're carpeting or they're mowing the lawn together, or it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's a work problem and they all work exactly the same way. So just remember the format of how it's worked, and it really comes from time equals distance over rate. And it's that kind of idea you have to think about it, because there's other work problems involved that, they might get time you're adding together or distance you're adding together. So this is a good way to learn how to work word problems. And I'll work on more problems on the way. Thank you.